Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Barry. In my last video, I was doing a Dresden plate, and when I got to the circle, I actually messed it up by actually cutting the fabric. And sometimes you just gotta walk away from it, regain your composure, and go back at it. But thanks to you, or some of you commented, and watching a few videos, I figured out how to do it even better. So I'm not gonna let that thing get the best of me. So today, real quick, I'm going to show you my new method of appliquing the circle for the Dresden plate. Plus, if you're new here, like I said, I've got a lot of new subscribers and I really appreciate it. But we mostly talk about quilting. We talk a little bit about retirement. But once in a while, we have what we call the Memory Makers Button Club. And that is where people like yourself send in a close button to me, and we read your letter and add your button to the Memory Makers button jar. And so stay tuned for that. But right now, we're going to conquer this circle. So let's get at it. So the difference is I'm going to draw my circle on the fusible applique, and I also have the bumpy side down here, and I'm going to put it on the smooth side. I'm going to draw the circle. I'm going to draw the circle all the way around. And you know, I have a Juki sewing machine, and my stitches are usually at about 2.8 roughly to 3. I'm setting it down to about 1.8. You know, just a little bit under 2. That's what I'm told to do. So we got our circle drawn. We don't need this anymore. We want to lay the bumpy side to the face up to the good side of the fabric here. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew right on the line all the way around. This is so much better than what I was doing before. So I'm going to sew this, and I'll be right back here. What I do is I just line this right up on the line, and every little bit I lift the presser foot up and turn it. Takes a little bit. But I think this is going to work out. You'll find out it works a lot better than what I did. All right, now that we've got this sewn, I'm just going to cut around the outside. I don't have to be even that close. I'm going to get my better scissors. I don't even have to be that close, just maybe an 1/8 of an inch. Just cutting right along that edge. And that way there's no chance of cutting into the any of the stitches. Like before, I was constantly cutting into the stitches. I'm not really for sure who told me about this in the comments, but this is the way. If you're going to applique and turn it inside out, to me, this is the only way to go, because you don't got to be that accurate, because this will be turned inside. You won't even see this. Well, we try to get close. All right. Now, unlike the last time, we are going to make sure that we do not cut our fabric. So I'm pulling this up. I'm going to snip it. And going to make cuts in all the different directions. Hopefully you can see that. Now here's and this is not going to be looking pretty, but it will work. We're going to want to turn this inside out. Like I said, this is never pretty, but it works. So just have faith in the process. Once I'm pretty well, you can work a lot of this just with your hands, your fingers up here. Once you get a lot of this done, then you can take, you know, some of you talk about your the purple thing. If you got that, I like to use my crochet needle here, and I will just run that ball all the way around. I hope you can see this good. That is so much nicer. And like I said, you can form it better when you iron it. But let me get my Dresden here. So, unlike the last time, there, we can just iron that down when we're ready. And people asked before, what I'll do is I'll just take, I can either use a zigzag stitch and go all the way around, or just, you know, just sew right along the outside edge. It's your choice. You know, iron this out real good. And I'll pin this usually to a piece of fabric. And I'm going to show you me doing this when we're ready. I've still got 3 other quilts, well, 2 other quilts in front of this one. So we're not ready to start on this one, but when we get here, I'm going to show you me stitching this down and everything. But there is the circle. It is done. It is nice. It is looking good. I will show you this in full disclosure. I made one before I started this. This is what you don't do. Do not stick it to the back side of your fabric. You stick it, make sure your interfacing is to the front side, and then flip it to the back side. Don't stick it on the back side and flip it to the front side, or you have this. And with your good fabric on the inside. Yay for me. So that's it. We will get to viewer mail, but like I said, if you're new here, I usually tell a joke. So here's a joke for you. They're not the best, but here it is. This guy, he called his neighbor Fred up on the phone. He says, "Hey Fred, your dog got out and he's chasing my kid on a bike." And Fred said, "That's impossible. My dog don't have a bike." It don't get any better. All right, give me a few minutes. We'll open up some, we'll get the jar down. We'll open up some viewer mail and let's read some letters. All right, we got the jar. Let me move it over here. Let's open it up. Feel the heat coming off that. If this is your first time here and you're going, what in the world is going on? The Memory Maker button jar was created to give back to you as a way of saying thank you. So people send me letters and close buttons, and that close button is to represent a memory or a goal that something that you want to have happen in the future, or like I said, the first time you remember quilting with your mother, your father, your grandparents, whoever, or a trip to Walt Disney World, whatever your favorite memory is. That's what the Memory Makers Button Club is. It represents quilts. We can't put quilts in here, but quilts are memories. You know, quilts are passed down from generation to generation, and there's so many memories in quilts. I thought this was a symbolic way of giving back. So people have been sending, thank you, sending in buttons. If you'd like to send in a button and join, there'll be a link to the address below. All you have to do is send a button. It can be even a new button you found at a thrift store or wherever. Just an old button you want to send. That button represents a memory for you. And I can't say it's been scientifically proven, but people that submit buttons have more luck. That's not scientific. That's just what I heard. I'm kidding, but maybe not. All right, our first buttons, and some of you have been waiting a while. I haven't gotten very many buttons in the last couple of weeks, so I know some of you was like, where's my button? So I apologize, but here they are. We got about 5 buttons today, so let's get on with it. This one is from Deidre. Hello, Barry. I'm sending a couple of buttons, and you can see the buttons right over here. I'm sending a couple buttons for the Button Club. Thank you so much for starting the club. I watch all your videos, enjoy hearing the places other quilters are from, and seeing your smiling face. It always brightens my day. Well, thank you. You have come so far in your journey. I always feel happy to meet new quilters who are starting out and how much new technology is out there for them. Keep up the good work. Happy quilting journey, Deidre. And Deidre is from Berlin, New Hampshire. And so I'm going to start first by welcoming Deidre. And like I said, here's the buttons. You know, here's a little cute buttons. Here's the these are like metal almost. Deidre from Berlin, New Hampshire, welcome to the Memory Makers Button Club. But wait, there's more. I'm going to get this out. Hopefully this will show up on the camera good. Let's see. Play that. She had another little note here, and we've got to mention it. Okay, Barry, meet Chuck the Duck. He is the mascot for Missouri Star Quilt Company. This is such a special button. I have watched a lot of their tutorials and learned so many techniques in quilting, and I want you to put it in the memory jar for me. That's no problem, and thanks, D. And then over. Let me do that first. D, I'm going to put your little Chuck the Duck in the Memory Maker's button jar for you. Can I keep the sticker though? Because I might put this. I don't know if the sticker will fit on this. This is my Juki I named Betsy, and I'm going to show you my long arm, and I named my long arm Gracie Lou. Maybe I could put if this may not even be a decal. But if it was, I'd put Chuck the Duck on Gracie Lou. We'll see. I want to get some stickers on there. But it says, you have not said if you were ever in the military. I was not. There's a story behind it. I'll tell you some other time, but I was not. I wanted to make the enclosed kit, but was unable to make it now. You can make it and keep it as thanks for your service, or make it and give it to a veteran. I enjoy your videos and thank you for sharing your new quilting, your new passion quilting. And she sent this quilt panel kit called I'm Coming Home. I won't open it now, but Deidre, thank you very much. And I'm about 4 quilts in, but I promise before the year's out, we will do this. And I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, it is not necessarily necessary for you to send anything, but it is appreciated. So let's move on to the next one. Ooh, here's some good buttons. Let's put these over here. And you know what? I started using my grape wool pressing mat. And why didn't I use this sooner? I like it a lot better. There. All right, let's see. This is from Susan from St. George, Utah. Hi, Barry. Hope this finds you well. Finally found my generational button hoard. I chose 3 buttons because of them being so unusual for your button jar. I don't know who or when these buttons were enjoyed. The gold button is unusual because of the shank that secured it to the garment. It is a piece of wad of fabric instead of a metal shank. Let's see if we can see that. See that? That's what she's talking about. This is just a wad of material in there that you can take out to secure the button. The yellow button is unusual because the outer portion is metal and maybe it's off a shoe. Yeah, this is all metal right here. There's the back. Maybe you guys comment and tell me if you know. So the third button reminds me of my favorite chocolate covered cherries. I think it's made of Bakelite, a first generation of plastic. It's interesting it has a patent pending mark. According to Britannia Online, the patent application was submitted in 1907. In the 1930s, cast Bakelite, along with many other competing phenolic resins, did I say that right? Enjoyed a vogue in colorful costume jewelry and novelties. Most buttons nowadays are made in China. I wonder if that's about to change. Your button jar can represent the past and domestic inventions. We'll be cheering you on in your quilting journey. Best regards, Susan from St. George, Utah. And she says, I also included some pine tree fabric. So look at this. Some nice, can you see that there? Some pine tree fabric. Well, thank you, Susan from St. George, Utah. And did I show you that? Let's look at the back of that. That's, yeah, that, that's probably like the 30s maybe. And who knows how old these are. These are probably fairly old. But anyway, Susan from St. George, Utah, welcome to the Memory Makers Button Club. Yay. And thank you for the fabric. On to the next one. How are we doing so far? All right. These are small little buttons here. Let's see. This is from Susan from, hopefully I pronounce this right, Campty, Louisiana. Is that right? Campty, Louisiana. Barry, love your YouTube posts. I too recently retired. Congratulations. Congratulations, Susan. I too recently retired and in the process of relearning quilting and finishing those projects. Your button club is fun. My buttons are from my husband's work uniforms. Yay! They represent years and years of hard labor, and I appreciate his dedication and loyalty to his jobs and for always providing for our family. That is so awesome. That's a memory right there. And it signs Susan. She sends this nice little card with some leaves on it there. Hallmark. So Susan from Campty, Louisiana. And for your husband's hard work, welcome to the Memory Makers Button Club. Oh, this is a pretty card. Let's see what we got. You can talk to yourself. You can even answer, just don't say, huh. That's a quote from Zig Ziglar. Oh. All right. This is from, I'll make sure, it was Sandra from Moline, Illinois. And she's got a nice card here with a bird on it. Let's see if it says, I don't know what kind of bird it is. I don't know. Maybe you know what kind of bird that is, but it's a pretty card. She says, hi Barry, here are 2 buttons for the Memory Makers Button Club. The darker button was my grandmother Dorothy's, and the white button was from my mother Joyce's buttons. I'm 77 years old, so the buttons represent a lot of history. I'm happy to share many memories that both those buttons represent. I love your YouTube videos. They are refreshing and enjoyable. Please keep sewing because you are an inspiration to others. Thank you. Sincerely, Sandy. Sandy is from Illinois, USA. Sandy, thank you for trusting us to allow us to put your grandmother's and your mother's buttons. Let me see if your grandmother's Dorothy's and your mother Joyce's buttons. So we're going to add them. So Sandra from Illinois, this is in memory of your mother and your grandmother. Welcome to the Memory Makers Button Club. Yay. All right, we got one more. One more. And then a quick note. Oh. Let me tape these. We are live. Unscripted. Can you see that? Let's see here. There. I think that's good. All right. This is from Christine from Rock Springs, Wyoming. Barry, I really enjoy your YouTube videos. Been watching almost from the start. Awesome. Awesome. Barry, here are 3 buttons for your jar. Motorcycle. Look at that cute motorcycle. Because my husband raced dirt bikes and the boys too. Now the boys are buying road bikes, Harleys. Beautiful. Yeah, yay for Harleys. The brown button from a friend and Snowflake. We live at a high altitude, 6,300 feet descent. They say we only have 2 seasons, winter and road construction. That sounds like Ohio. My husband is a retired electrician. Get a shock out of life, married electrician. My husband is a retired electrician too. Keep busy with the, and he keeps busy with the Jeep, heading out to the hills often and making knives for friends and family. Don't pay attention to the haters. I like that you say you don't care. Thanks for the YouTubes that you do. It's great watching you progress. Christine. So Christine from Rock Springs, Wyoming. Look at this cute little motorcycle and the snowflake and a little brown button. So Christine from Rock Springs, Wyoming, welcome to the Memory Makers Button Club. And one more final thing really fast. My friend Annie from, I know you told me how to pronounce this, Worcestershire, Worcester, Mass. She sent me some Pounce because I bought some stencils the other day. And yes, stencils aren't just for hand quilting. You can put it, you can do it on the domestic or long arm. And this, you put your stencil down, then you take this Pounce powder and spread it on there, and then it leaves marks that you can sew. So Annie, thank you very much for that. I got it. Thank you guys. Remember, if you want to add your buttons to the Memory Makers button jar, just send it to the address below. All you gotta do is send the button. No, nothing else. And a little note. That's all it's required to join. And so we got a lot of ways to go to fill this thing up. So get it in. And like I always say, after health, but before wealth, there's always memories. So go out and make some memories, and I will see you later.